Alrighty. Hello and welcome to the Health and Harmony podcast. Today, I myself am super excited because we have an incredible guest on the show. I kind of feel like I manifested this because I think it was just over a year ago when I started delving deep into my spiritual journey and following podcasts that aligned with, I feel like, the information that I needed to gain. This guest was one of the first podcasts that I started listening to. So it actually feels completely surreal that she's guesting on our show. But yeah, that's the power of manifestation, I guess. So I just want to introduce our guest, Kim Mellor. She is a global wellness leader and a manifestation coach. Did I get that right? Got it right.
Oh my God, it's so good to be on the show. And what a lovely, heartwarming welcome that is. I feel truly honored and blessed to be a part of your manifestation.
Oh, amazing. So, I mean, we always just ask people in the beginning to tell us their story, who they are, how they got there, what it is that they do. So you can go with whatever you feel like telling us.
Amazing. Well, okay, 37 years worth of, I'll cut it as short as I can. Yeah. It's funny that you say that question, like, you know, who are you? Because that was the question that someone asked me maybe like 10 years ago, and I didn't know how to answer it. And that's what kind of got me on this quest of actually, who am I? Because for most of my life and for most of our lives, you know, we're in the education system, you know, we perceive our beliefs, our reality based on circumstances and situations and experiences that we have. And so we think that only this is possible. And I grew up in a world where I thought, okay, so I need to go to university to get this job because that's what everyone around me is doing. But there was something inside of me that just knew that there was something else, but I couldn't see it. No one else was living it. And I just thought, well, this is my lot then. I'll just go to university. I'll study something that I'm slightly interested in with absolutely no idea how or what I'm going to do with my life. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to travel. I just wanted to just get paid for just having a laugh. But like I said, no one around me was actually doing that. So yeah, I also got really hooked to this hustle mentality, this like work hard, strive kind of energy. And that was because, you know, my parents, you know, God bless them, you know, worked so hard to make a living, to give me and my brother the life that, you know, they never had. So I grew up in this household where work ethic was a badge of honor. You know, if you were absolutely burnt out by the end of the day, okay, that's a great thing. You can retire when you're 60. So for most of my life, I've been very attached to this like hustle. I didn't see much evidence of people actually enjoying life. And I just thought, well, that's kind of what happened. You just keep short, you put your head down, and then you can retire someday in your 60s. And I was about 13, 14 when I started my modeling career as well. So it was something that was really out of my comfort zone because I was very shy inwardly, even though outwardly I could put on a smile and I could walk down a catwalk. Like that was a massive growth journey for me because, you know, the confidence that I had to grow into to be able to do that was something that was completely outside my comfort zone. But also with modeling is it's constantly external validation, right? So like my whole life, someone would say, oh my God, you look really thin today. Oh, great, you've got that job because you're thin enough. Oh my God, you're so pretty, or you're not as pretty as her. So that was the whole of my life. It was trying to get people's approval based on what I look like. And you can imagine, right? So you're out to dinner with your friends and they're all eating pizza and cake. In the back of your mind, you're thinking, I've got a bikini job tomorrow. I can't really eat much because I'm going to feel bloated. So just this whole kind of feast and famine lifestyle, not only with food, but also with money. You know, one month I could have loads of money and the next month I could have none because I was self-employed. So if I didn't work, I didn't get paid. So it was kind of ticking a lot of boxes because I could kind of do what I wanted and it was kind of fun. It wasn't this like strict 9-to-5 job. And it was amazing in my 20s. But then when I got to the age of like 28, the tolerance for my life being how it was got really, really small. And I went into a bit of depression and anxiety. And I was just like, this is not matching what my soul is really screaming for. And at this point, I wasn't meditating or journaling. I was, just an ordinary girl, just going out at the weekend, shopping, and it's all weekend, shopping, champagne, all the things, full wardrobe of clothes, but like an empty life inside. And it just didn't tick the boxes anymore. And I just felt really empty. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Because this life that I'm actually living in reality is not matching what I know. There was this like knowing feeling that there was something else, but there wasn't the evidence outside. So yeah, one day I was on my hands and knees and I was like praying for a solution. And that's when the business that I have today, my global wellness business, came into my life. And that was the catalyst for growth. And that was actually when I was 28, so like when my Saturn returned. So I don't know if you want to unpack any of that, but that's kind of the start of where my transformation journey started.
I love that. That's so incredible. I think it's so like resonative, because I think a lot of people have gone through a similar journey where we obviously go to school, get conditioned, believe that we need to work hard to make money to pay the bills and live for the weekends. And it's just incredible to see the amount of people that are now awakening to the fact that there's more. We don't have to like just succumb to this hustle mentality, this hustle life that we've been taught to believe is that's all that there is. So that's incredible. As you were talking, I just wanted to know, like, what actual moment was it that sparked you to like start this new chapter of your journey, to find out who you were, to discover what more there was to life?
Yeah, so like I said, I was 28 and I was like really starting to not enjoy my life. And I thought all the things that I thought you should have to be happy. Okay, I've got money in my bank. Around kind of situationships, people who you go out with at the weekend and don't have much of a in-depth conversation with. I had a relationship, I had the penthouse apartment with my partner. It's like tick, 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 tick. But there was still this like empty void within me. And like I say, because I couldn't see anyone else who was living the life that I wanted to live. And this was like, I think Facebook had only just come out like 10 years ago. I would talk 100. There's no such thing as like online health and wellness coaches and all of this. And so, yeah, I started my online wellness business, and my friend shared this concept in this way for me to actually create leverage and time. And it was a concept I've never even heard of before, because I was so used to like work 9 to 5 or self-employed, you trade time for money. So when he shared this concept of how I could create more time with less time, and how I could have access to a business that would actually allow me to do whatever I wanted, I was like, oh my God, this is everything I've been looking for. Why has no one ever shared this with me before? I mean, it just came wrapped in a completely different package to what I thought freedom would look like. And also like the community, the development, all of the things that I actually didn't know I needed and wanted, my soul called it in for its growth. So I started my business 9 years ago, and I started it with this like hustle, grind mentality still. I was still the same person because I've not done any development. And like I said, I didn't read any books at this point. I wasn't into like Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or any of these incredible people. And so when I started to open my mind to like, whoa, John C. Maxwell, and oh my God, Tony Robbins is, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like, ooh, this is so cool. So I really understood the power of like mindset and how to change your habits, because that then changed your life. And so this like masculine part of me was like, I'm going to have 4 hours sleep a night. I'm going to be like a multi-millionaire in this business. This is a vehicle to help me transform my life. And guess what? I had success with that energy. I had the car, I had the money, I had all the incentive trips that you can earn within the company. But I still felt empty. I was like, this is interesting. Why do I still feel empty, even though I have all of the things that I thought I wanted for happiness? And then I had a year of my life which completely flipped everything upside down. So my mum suddenly passed away with a brain hemorrhage out of the blue, got a phone call, literally the worst day of my whole entire life. I also lost tens of thousands of pounds that I'd saved over my life in a basically fraudulent investment that just disappeared overnight. The car that I earned in my company, and I put so much like validation in myself on the car, I lost my driving license for 6 months because my mum was sorting out all the insurance, and like I didn't know what was happening, you know, when she passed away. So I lost the car. And I can remember clear as day, it was raining in England. Of course, it's always raining in England. And I had to get the bus, and I had this suitcase, and the wheel of the suitcase fell off. And I was on the bus, I was soaking wet, I had this broken suitcase. I was like, what is going on? This, what is happening? And I definitely had a spiritual awakening that year. That was like a dark night of the soul for me. And I then went on this quest of like unlocking the real me. I'm really starting this journey of self-discovery. And like I said, someone asked me the question, who is Kim Mellor? I was like, oh, I'm a model. Oh, I have a business. No, like who are you? What do you stand for? What are your values? What's your purpose in this world? Absolutely no idea. And I truly believe now that my dear mum Margaret, she passed away when she did to really help me to evolve faster on this spiritual journey. And I was Googling what happens after people die. And I was like reading books from Wayne Dyer, and Gabrielle Bernstein came into my energy. So a lot more feminine energy started to come in. And Gabrielle Bernstein was one of the first people who I really related to, because I thought spiritual people were just like weird. Okay, I'm just going to hug trees all day, wear white, sit in lotus position, and just look like that picture on the back of the wall with golden Buddha. And so I didn't resonate with it. But I resonated with Gabrielle Bernstein, you know, from New York, dressing sassy, talking about the universe, manifestation. And my soul was like, oh my God, this is what you've been searching for. Like, this is the answers that you've been wanting. And that was it. And so for the past 5 years, I've been on this journey of becoming, not even becoming, just remembering who I am and getting rid of all the things that I ever thought I was, and just actually being myself. And this is what this journey is. It's not so much about becoming anything, more about just unbecoming everything that you thought you were, so you could just be who you were inherently born to be on this planet. And yeah, it's just been an amazing journey of self-discovery, and like life is just so fulfilling. And it's bizarre because now I'm sat in Bali with hardly any possessions, with no car, and I'm so happy. I mean, I'm in a 5-bedroom incredible mansion overlooking the pool, which of course I manifested. But like a year ago, I was sat in an Airbnb with all of these old clothes, all of this like baggage that I was trying to hold on to, like this old version of myself. And I sat there, and it was like lockdown in England, and the Prime Minister was about to basically say, right, no one can leave the country. And me and my friend literally had 3 days before this was happening. So it was like the Sunday, and he said the country's going to go into lockdown on Thursday. So we were like, right, where do we really want to be right now? We were like, we just want to be in Bali. So I gave away 90% of my possessions, including stuff I had in storage, sofas, wardrobes, clothes, didn't want it, get rid of it, gone. I sorted out visas, booked flights, did all the tests and everything for COVID within 3 days. And literally 3 days later, I came to Bali, and I've been in Bali ever since. So it just shows you the shift of like where I thought happiness was on the outside to where happiness really is on the inside. And it's an ever ongoing journey of unbecoming everything. And, you know, I'm loving this journey of expansion and evolution, and being able to share that and help people along their way too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you speak about letting go of everything, because I think it's so important. People forget every single day. I mean, letting go can be in many different aspects of our life. Like, you had to let go of who, or like you say, unbecome who you thought you were, but also it's the physical baggage that we hold on to. And I know for a lot of people, it's really difficult to let go of things. And especially for someone like you and a lot of other people who have lost someone, sometimes you keep onto things also that have like sentimental value. And I mean, you can have a locket from your mom that's sentimental to you, and that's a lot of something that you can keep. But someone holding on to, like you say, sofas or carpets or whatever that belong to somebody that has passed, or even that was part of who they thought they would be one day or they'd have to use one day. And also just like letting go of the physical, but also letting go of the emotional are both massive steps in, like you say, unbecoming who you thought you were supposed to be in this world.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and it's so ironic because I was sat on the sofa and I was like, what would multi-millionaire Kim wear? And it was none of the things that were in my wardrobe. And as we know, we don't get what we want, we get who we are. Mm-hmm. Like our manifestations are a match to who we're being. And that's one thing I really got. I was like, I am not being that version of myself that I need to be to attract the things into my life. So why am I holding on to this like 10-year-old Primark top that's got holes in it? Like what, that just sparked so much lack and holding on to this old version of myself. I just never gave anything away. I never took anything that I might need this one day. I might need this one day in 10 years time when it's raining outside at a festival. That was like my mindset. Like I might need this one day. And so obviously when you're holding on to an old version of yourself and things, then you can't step into that new version of yourself. And so because I was so connected to that new level version of myself, it was so easy to get rid of things, because freedom isn't just money. Freedom is not needing anything. And it's also the freedom to express and just to be. And I had another manifestation moment as well, where I was making a little vision board. I have like a private Instagram account. This is a good top tip for anyone who wants to travel and maybe you haven't got your vision board with you. Create a private Instagram, call it whatever you want, and just be uploading photos of this life that you want to create and the vision of yourself. And I was thinking, what would multi-millionaire Kim wear? And she'd wear high-end, luxurious, eco-friendly brands. And I put like Warriors of the Divine, Fluke the Label, Ananda Soul, all of these incredibly luxurious eco brands on my vision board. And I was just imagining myself in this villa in Bali wearing all of these clothes. And then literally 3 days later, we were in Bali, tick. And then 2 weeks later, I'd moved into, we called the Abundance Palace, with 5 girlfriends, incredible sisters, just amazing. And I was doing a photo shoot, wearing Warriors of the Divine clothing, Flute the Label, and Under the Soul. I broke down, because I think as well, what people do is they call things in and they manifest things, but they don't actually let them land and penetrate. Even the smallest of things, like don't just shove them off as being a coincidence or insignificant. The smallest of things, the microcosm leads to the macrocosm. But I had this moment now, and I sat on the sofa at the end with the woman who owns the company. And she was like, you can just pick 3 items of clothing, whatever you want. And I was sat there and I was sobbing and sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And she was like, what's up? And I was like, I'm just so grateful. You've got no idea. Like this has been my vision on my vision board for so long, and you've just given me clothing. And I'm just like, I can't actually believe I'm in my flipping vision board. And that is the power of manifestation, is just being in the energy of what you want, letting go of the resistance. And it's actually inevitable. Manifestation is inevitable if you actually choose it and you believe it. And I think because we only had 3 days to really do it, I mean, I didn't sleep, I swear to God, and my storage cupboard was full of stuff. You can't just dump it somewhere or leave it. You've got to kind of, so I was on Facebook Marketplace, I was getting rid of all the things. I must have had like 2 hours sleep. My body was like on overdrive. And I was just like, something was just making me go and go and go and go. And I was on that plane and I was like, wow, we did it. There was not one shadow of a doubt that we were going to be in Bali. And you know what? It should take two weeks to get a visa through, and we got it in 3 days. Like the synchronicities that had to happen for us to not only get the visa, but then we had to have the COVID test like 24 hours before we booked the flight. The COVID results didn't come back 2 hours before we had to actually book the flight to go. And it was just like ding, 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 ding. So the universe is always supporting us every step of the way when we fully own the desire and we fully trust and know it's already done.
I love that. I think with manifestation, especially, there's so many like misunderstandings of how it works. And I think you summed up beautifully there how just having like the unwavering belief and like completely like no doubt that something is going to come in your life is such an important like part of the equation to manifesting. Because I know even for myself over the past few weeks, I've started to realize like sometimes with manifestations, it's easier and more effective to create a huge goal, dream, vision, whatever it is, and then just surrender to it and almost like let it be. Because I know with myself, I'll think about it and then those self-sabotaging thoughts come in, that you're not worthy of this, you'll never achieve that. And that kind of like takes you back from the process of manifestation. So I loved your story because I just see so much like unwavering doubt and belief in yourself, well, not doubt, belief in yourself. And I think that's been a key to the life that you manifested for yourself.
Yeah, and I'll give you some fresh off the press examples of power of letting go. And I just want to just make a disclaimer because I've really understood recently that there's no like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step checklist of manifestation, because like anything, like we're all so different. And I mean, this is a whole other subject, but like whatever human design you are also impacts how you manifest. So you could be a specific manifester where you need to think about the specifics of something, whereas I'm a non-specific, so I focus on the feeling and not the specifics. And then you've got an active manifester, someone who can actually obsess over something and it manifests. But someone who's passive, if they obsess over a manifestation, they actually cause more stress. And so sometimes people are like, but I'm manifesting, I'm thinking about what I want, I'm thinking about it all the time. But because they're supposed to be a passive manifester, they're just manifesting more stress because it's not their human design type. So actually, like, it's a whole other world that I'm going to dive into, is the whole human design and manifesting, because that, I mean, it's just so magical. But yeah, letting go. So a big thing in my life is, meeting my person. It's the only last thing that I would just, it's just like tick and I'm done. And of course, the things that we want the most, we hold on to the most. We want them the most for happiness or for us to feel a certain way. And I've definitely been through all the emotions of focusing on finding a husband and then just not being bothered, but then still being on Tinder and getting annoyed with Tinder and being on 4 dating apps at once and then just getting energetically burned out, going on really crap dates, being really annoyed. And last week I was like, okay, Kim, just come back to what you know. If you knew, like you knew, that it was already done, how would you show up today? Would you be on Tinder searching for him? Would you go to every single cafe and look for him? Everywhere I went, I was like searching. And I just came back to myself and I was like, no, I am feminine. I am a powerful creator. I don't chase, I attract. And so I've just let all of it go. I'm not looking, I'm not searching. I'm just like being in my own energy. Because what I was finding as well is if there was a hot guy, I'd go into like some kind of anaphylactic shock at the thought of even like being in the same space as a really hot guy, and the thought of him coming over would freak me out. So I'd just be a completely different person as well. And so last week I just let it go. I was like, I'm just letting it go. I'm not bothered because I've already met him on some level and I completely trust in the divine timing of it all. And then I literally went to the toilet, come out of the toilet. I was like, oh, hi. There was this tall, cute guy that I've seen around. He was on Tinder, but we never matched. And then I came off it and then I've seen him surfing. I thought, oh, he's really hot. But I just didn't connect with him at that time. Literally 2-minute conversation. We've got a date this week. I was like, oh, that's easy. Because there's no resistance. I let it go. And the universe was able to align up with that. So it is that balance of like letting go. But does letting go mean I don't care? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means if you knew your manifestations were already done, how would you choose to show up today? Would you be asking where it is? Would you focus on the gap? Like most people are focusing on the gap, like where is it? actually it's just like, I'm in full trust, he's on his way. He'll arrive in divine timing in a nice, neat little bow.
And he was on his way. I'm like, now you have a date this week. That's so exciting for you.
Yeah. There's coming in now. There's going to be a big queue next week.
Yeah, they're going to be flying, and you're going to have like, your book is going to be full. Are you even going to have time to work?
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, it's such a balancing act, this whole manifestation thing of, like you said, like having a clear vision of what it is that you want, but also knowing that like you can't obsess about it all the time, just like feeling the feels of how it's going to be when you do obtain whatever it is that you desire, and not like chasing. It's like this whole process of surrendering to the universe's way of making it come about. Because I think also people get like, they have an idea of how they're going to achieve this goal, and they're so stuck in this idea of how they're going to achieve it that when that way doesn't work, they're like, okay, well, it's not happening for me then. Where there's so much power in just going with the flow, for lack of a better way of explaining it. And yeah, just finding your way to this manifestation through whichever way the universe is going to make it happen. So I don't know if you have any advice for people who are finding it hard to release, let go, surrender, like stop with the manic thoughts about like, it's not happening. Because I know it's very hard for people to firstly comprehend that this whole concept, and then secondly, actually put it into action.
Yeah. So I actually did a masterclass yesterday on the power of I am and affirmations. And I shared this experiment by Dr. I can't remember his name, but basically if you type in water test, then it'll show you. And he basically shared how, the words that we speak affect our water. And he showed different like microscopic views of water. So for example, he shared an image of a drop of water that had been prayed on, and it was this beautiful crystal, amazing shape. And then he compared it against a drop of water that basically said, you make me feel sick. And it was like this congealed, horrible shape and color. And what people don't realize is that we're made of like 70% water, and the words that you speak impact the cells in your body. So the words that you say create beliefs, and the beliefs create emotion, and the emotion creates a reality. So if you're saying to yourself, where is it? It's not happening. That just magnetizes more of that to you, because we are ultimately the creators of our reality. So if we're the creators, we have to take full responsibility for everything in our life. So if you're in the blaming or complaining or the victim consciousness, which a lot of people are, is like, if this person hadn't have done this, then I'd be much further along. If this person didn't do this. And a lot of people are being martyrs because they are over rescuing people. They are like doing too much for others without looking after themselves. So it's really looking at, am I being responsible for my vibration? And do I actually understand the laws of the universe? Because if you fully understood the law, like you will be implementing it sharpish. But also if I can give you this image in your mind, so if you imagine this elephant, okay, the elephant is your subconscious mind. It makes up 95% of our life is the elephant. And when we're on top of the elephant, we're these little ants. We're like 5% of making the manifestations happen. And we're like trying to run towards our dreams, and we're trying to run forward. And the elephant is going the opposite way. We think we have control over what we're doing by just like running really fast and hustling, but it's the elephant that's having the main dominant force in our lives. And when I understood that, I was like, mind blown. We don't get what we want, we get who we are. And actually having is evidence of wanting. So what you have in your life, on some level, you want it. You want it to be hard. You quite like being single. You like being a bit scared because it feels safe and comfortable to have no money in your bank account. On some level, you want it. But consciously, it's like, no, of course I want £1 million. Well, subconsciously, your brain's going, no, you're not worthy of that. But again, we don't get what we want, we get who we are. So the main thing people want to work on is this subconscious. Like, imagine if you're turning the elephant the opposite way by listening to this amazing podcast, by reading books, by surrounding yourself with positive people and affirming the things that you do want. This is the secret, is turning the elephant around. So if you imagine this elephant now is walking with you, it's 95% of what's showing up in your life. When you're this ant on top of it, it's like, oh, this is so easy. I am attracting so much more by actually doing less. I'm doing way less than what I've ever done, but I'm attracting so much more. And that was a huge shift for me. And so I am a huge advocate of working on the subconscious, getting rid of limiting beliefs, really like I'm surrounded by affirmations, amounts of money. Even though I don't like maybe look at them in detail every day, my subconscious is going in, it's going in, it's going in. And this is why, you know, what are you putting into your mind? Are you watching the news? Are you surrounded by negative people? You know, what's your screensaver on your phone? Like, what are you watching and listening to on social media? Even though you think it's not going in, it's all going in. So if you're sat there and you're frustrated with where you're at, it's also because you're basing your feelings on what you can see with your eyes. And what you can see with your eyes is actually an old manifestation. You created your life right now a few months ago, a few years ago. You're actually really good at manifesting, whether you like what you see or not. You could either be a crap magnet or you could be a miracle magnet. It's totally up to you. So again, when you take responsibility for where you are, that's when it all shifts. And so when you understand that your current reality is actually an old manifestation, you have to then step into the unknown, which is the scariest bit for most people. It's like, well, what is on the other side? But this is the magic of the universe. Like, we're all created from this big bang that happened like billions of years ago, and we're here with humans with eyes and ears and teeth and all these things. It's like, we did not have anything to do with that process. There was something a lot bigger at play. So when you like understand a bit about the science, it stops becoming so woo-woo. It's actually the law. The law of the universe is like the absolute law. So if you're feeling frustrated right now, it's like really focusing on your vision, stepping into that unknown. Who is that person? Like, what life are you living? And who are you? And the universe will then match the vibration of who you are.
I love that. It's like almost the same thing as the law of attraction. Like, whatever you put out, you bring more of in. So if you're constantly in this victim mode, this victim mentality, like, everything's happening to me, nothing great is happening in my life, you're just going to carry on attracting more of that crap. So it's just aligning yourself. And I think also gratitude is such a beautiful practice in terms of the law of attraction, because you're focusing on the things that you have and not the things that you don't have. And in turn, the universe is like, cool, if you're grateful for these things, I'm just going to send you more of these things. So I think there's a lot of like self-work and understanding that you need to do. And I think this is also where a lot of people go wrong, is just like trying to jump into this manifestation thing without any like self-awareness, self-knowledge, and like basically all the knowledge that you need to now keep learning, keep applying in order to become a manifestation queen. And I think you just summed it up so beautifully there, that we need to like let go of our old selves and start manifesting a new reality for ourselves, because we keep manifesting all this crap because we keep focusing on the crap, where we can literally just change our minds and start like looking at the positives and the beautiful things in life and bring more of that into our lives. Amazing. Are you still there?
I'm here. I am here.
Again, I thought we had some technical difficulties there. I wanted to ask you, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to ask you, I saw on your stories the other day that you like struggled with your throat chakra, like a blockage. which I thought was incredible, because that's also a similar journey that I've been on. I mean, this time a year ago, you would have not caught me speaking in front of a camera, hosting podcasts, like all of these things that I've been able to overcome. But I'd love to know your story of, like, maybe if you know where it came from and how you overcame the blockage to like feel free and true enough to voice your voice.
Well, first of all, well done, if that was a big fear of yours, you know, to have the courage to just go, this is happening for me, this is my greatest gift. So that's amazing. I want to honor you for that. Yeah, so like I said, you know, modeling doesn't really require speaking, or obviously, you know, we speak as humans, but, you know, speaking in front of people, let alone speaking your truth, is a completely different thing. And I've got no idea where it comes from. It must be a past life thing. But it was only 75 years ago when the last witch was actually burned at the stake. So I think there's a lot of spiritual people who want to speak and, you know, have had this journey of like not wanting to speak because there's a fear of maybe harm or like being burnt at the stake that we can maybe remember from, you know, so many past lives. So I don't actually know where it's come from, but what I do know is it was a real big thing for me. So when I started my wellness business, like I kind of had to overcome it because, you know, I wanted to lead people and speak to people and share this incredible vehicle to help people to expand and grow and evolve. And I knew that there was a gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. And that gap was just courage, absolute courage, and just working on myself. I was so petrified of public speaking that I got hypnotized like 2 times. I've done NLP courses, and they've helped to give me the tools and the confidence to like, do you know what? I already had the confidence, but they were just permission slips, like for me to actually just unlock things, right? That's all things ever are. And like I said, I'm just an ordinary girl who just decided to go for it. I decided to choose faith over fear every single time. And I never had the confidence to start. I just had the courage. So the courage comes first. And so if you're looking at me, or if you're looking at Roxy, or you're looking at Bianca thinking, oh my God, I could never have my own podcast, but I really want one. And what's stopping me? Is that the only difference is we took a leap of faith, we dug in, and we just knew this was for our growth. And I knew that my greatest fear would be my greatest gift. And I had no idea that I would be speaking on stages all around the world, inspiring thousands of people. But it's actually like if you'd have told me 9 years ago, like I would have gone, what? And I've got some videos of me doing like a Facebook Live into my team page. And I'm just like, hello, everyone. Welcome to the team. It's so good to be here. And like, I love myself in all phases at all stages. And it's just so good to compare yourself against yourself. And so, yeah, I've done a lot of work on, you know, my throat chakra with Reiki, and just stepping into that. And just the thing is as well, I think when you know your truth, it's a lot easier to say it. And because I didn't know who I was, what I stood for, and like what I wanted, it was really hard. And then also, you know, we've shifted from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. So I feel like there's a lot more support energetically. There's a lot more people and evidence that are kind of filling in the grid, helping us to like, okay, that's more permission, that's more permission. And especially being in Bali, like I'm surrounded by people who only live in alignment with their truth. So yeah, it's the environment that's really important, that you're in an environment that's supportive of that, and just having the courage just to go for it.
Amazing. And I think as much as it's the community and the environment, I think obviously, like you said, the courage to step into this and face your fears and start voicing your truth is like step number 1, which will help you to build the confidence. But I think also in my journey of like unblocking the throat chakra is in voicing my truth and my message, the amount of people that I've attracted that are my soul tribe has been like the most amazing validation that I need to keep speaking, because you almost attract the people that you need in your journey that are going to support you, and like you can even learn from them, they can learn from you. But without actually voicing your message in the first place, you're never going to attract those people in your life. So I love that you have, like, you're living in this Bali villa with these 5 amazing, I think it's 5, how many of them are you?
The 6 was all together, yeah.
Oh, 6. So 6 amazing babes. I watch your story. I'm a bit of a stalker, but it's just so nice to see people who have like achieved their vision board, like you said. And I think one of the biggest thing is like having the courage to face your fears and to grow and to learn and to continue evolving. So I think you just like the perfect presentation of what taking the first step can bring into your life.
Yeah, and you know, I've had this shift as well the past few months where I went into this very like spiritual, ethereal place where I was like using lots of spiritual language, and I even started to dress really spiritual, and my social media was like, look, it's almost like I wanted to prove that I was spiritual. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like, why do I feel like I need to speak this? Do I need to speak this language because I feel I need to feel seen and to feel validated as someone who has a soul? Because actually I'm just an ordinary girl. Like, I want to be relatable to ordinary people. And so I've really come to this place of, yeah, I'm just an ordinary girl who decided to go for it. And that's who I'm attracting. And that's my tribe, is people who were where I was 9 years ago. And it's just like trusting the ebbs and flow of your journey and loving yourself through all of it. Because one day you might think you've got everything together and you know who you are. The next day you're having this like identity crisis of like, who am I? And actually it's just being okay with the fact that you are a human being and you're here to experience all spectrums of life. And you're always going to be evolving, and just love yourself in all phases at all stages. And now I feel I'm actually speaking more of my language that I understand. Other people are resonating with that. So yeah, it's a really interesting perspective, because I think it was all based on self-worth. Like, do I feel worthy enough just kind of being who I am, or do I have to become this other person to feel valued and validated in this, you know, coaching space? So that was really interesting, is just giving myself the permission to just be me. Basic and ordinary and yeah, all the things.
Regular old me. I love what you said, like keeping authentic and keeping relatable, because I think it happens a lot now, especially with the shift of consciousness and like a lot more spiritual people emerging like in social media and all of that, that people are striving to be this perfect idea of what like being spiritual means, like wearing flowy clothes and meditating all day, and like it's just not like that. So it's incredible to see people that are being real, being relatable, because it makes other people who want to now step into this journey less afraid, less intimidated, seeing that like your average Joe like me and you can start this path to a beautiful new chapter in their life, and they don't have to go out and buy all the crystals and buy the fancy clothes and live in like a villa on the edge of a cliff that overlooks the sea. You know what I mean? There's like all this misconception that you have to be a certain way in order to like step into the spiritual role, but it's such a personal journey. Like whatever works for you and whatever resonates with you is what you should do in order to evolve, transform, step into this new light version of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And let it be messy. Like so many people like spiritually bypassing things, and just like, I remember when things used to happen that, you know, weren't necessarily that good, they were a bit negative. And I'd be like, oh, everything's just working out for me. Oh, it's just perfect. You know, this is an opportunity to grow. Just literally bypassing any kind of feeling. And what I realized is that actually is the opposite of spiritual. That's just like covering stuff up. And actually being a spiritual human being is experiencing all human emotion, which is sadness and grief and despair and anxiety. And so now if something happens and it's, you know, not how I wanted it to be within my way, I let myself get angry and annoyed and frustrated and pissed off, and I'm just like, ugh. And then that emotion just moves through me, and then it kind of heals itself. So you have to like feel it to heal it, and then you can have the perspective of, oh, okay, that was interesting. Where's that come from? Because if you're always covering things up, it's just always going to be under the carpet. You know, imagine you just had like a crazy party with your friends and you've got like crisps and cigarette butts everywhere. I don't smoke, by the way, but you know, if there was a party going on, there'd probably be some smoking, and your mum's coming back, you're like, right, get all the stuff under the carpet. You get the mop out and you're like shoving it under the carpet. she knows it's there. She can smell all the cigarettes, or she definitely will do in a few days' time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that dealing with things as they come up and giving yourself full permission to express, to be seen, to be a human being, and love yourself through all of it. But to not stay in the victim. This is the thing, is like things happen on the outside that people think are not their responsibility, so they blame, and they stay in that for far too long, and actually through most of their life they're carrying stuff of blame and not taking on responsibility. So it's not about falling off, it's like how quick you get back on. And it's really interesting because definitely been times when I've blamed and ex-boyfriends and things like that, and like when I lost all of that money, I was like blaming the person who I fully trusted, and I gave the money to him in full trust. And I was like, so like victim mentality for like a good few years. Every conversation I had with someone, oh, this is what someone's done to me, this is how I feel. Then they'd ask me again when I saw them again. It just perpetuate. And it was always in my energy. So what was I attracting? Just more of that same low vibration. And then actually once I started to do more work and I was willing to see things differently, that's the secret. Am I willing to see things differently through a different lens? Actually, even if I'm like 2% responsible for this, what is that 2%? And we are all responsible for everything in our lives. And when I got that, I was like, okay, I can forgive that person because this is my lesson. And also fully trusting the universe is giving you the lessons for your maximum growth. Like, we're all spiritual beings having intuitive messages come through, but sometimes the messages need to be a slap in the face with a wet kipper before you actually listen. And so many times my intuition was like, no, don't invest, make sure you get a lawyer, get him to look at everything. I was like, no, I fully trust this person. And then it was like, okay, just invest half the money. And I was like, no, I'm just going to invest it all. I'm going to do it all. That's what I'm going to do. Very flippant about it and didn't put any thought or consideration or research into it. So of course the universe is like, we're going to show you. And then that's how they show me, through like just not listening to that voice. And then when I went into my next relationship, my relationship with my partner, the same money wounds were there, the same things were there. Giving money for love, that's been my whole life. It's like, I will give you money to get love. I just wanted people's love, and so I'd give them money, over rescuing, over giving, and then me being the victim. And then the same thing happened in my relationship, except it was nearly 3 times the amount of money that I lost in the investment I gave in the relationship for love, because I had no boundary. This was only less than 2 years ago, by the way. And, I've been doing this work for, many years. And I had to, the universe like, well, you've not clearly learnt your lesson from that amount. So this is the amount that I think is actually going to make you realize. There was like debt, I've never had credit cards, I've never had loans. I was just like swamping in all of this stuff to help someone. And I just had to get out. I was drowning. And I that was an awakening for me as well. I was like, I cannot tolerate this anymore. And I chose myself. And I was like, wow, that was a hard freaking lesson to learn. But my God, have I learned it now. I've got such healthy boundaries around money. I've done a lot of work on it. So we're always growing, we're always progressing. And yeah, it's just a constant evolution, and just loving yourself through all of it, and trusting that the universe is giving you the lessons that you need for your growth. Because I know that when I become extremely wealthy, I'll know how to look after it. If I hadn't have learned those lessons, I wouldn't have looked after my money. I would have just kept giving it away to every Tom, Dick and Harry. So yeah, full trust in the universe.
I love that you speak about taking responsibility, because I feel like people all have this idea that they want to start manifesting, or they want to manifest certain things into their life. And it becomes so easy to focus on that like victim mentality, and like things are happening to you rather than the universe giving you lessons that you need to learn or to help you get to the best version of yourself. And I love that you speak about also like loving yourself through every version, because so many people, I mean, Rox and I have come across will speak about wanting to manifest positive things into their life, but refuse to believe that you can also be in that low vibration and be manifesting the negative things in your life. So they have like a sense of belief in positive manifestation, but it just hasn't happened in their life yet. But they refuse to believe that all the bad that's going on in their life is also part of something that they are manifesting. And it's a really fine line to be able to tell someone, like, you are part of the reason that a lot of this stuff is happening to you in your life, because it's so easy to play a victim and be like, no, everything's happening to me. Like, I have no control over it. Like Rox and I always use the example in our previous podcast that you can wake up in the morning and like knock over your cup of coffee, and then you get out of bed and then you kick your toe, and then you keep saying like, why is all of this bad stuff happening to me? And then the whole day just plays out as bad energy or bad things that have happened to you. But people just don't believe that the way that they were thinking that entire day, like, all this bad stuff is happening to me, is part of the reason why more bad stuff was happening to you, because you are in that low vibration for days or weeks or months or years or however long you are, until you start to realize that I can actually change my reality, and I can take these lessons from the universe as something that is helping me to better myself and to, like, for the greater good of my life, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's so funny. People like, I'm doing this manifesting stuff, but it's not, I can't understand why I'm not where I want to be. And again, it's because people subconsciously don't get it. Like, we don't get what we want, we get who we are. And a lot of people have got wounds that they're holding on to, like subconscious fears of like, actually, what would I do with that money? What would I do with the success? So a lot of people say they want success, but their subconscious is keeping them safe because, oh my God, like, who am I to be successful and wealthy? And oh my God, I'm going to be fully seen. So yeah, it's a really, really good point.
Yeah, I love everything that's being said right now. I think it's also, like B said, it's so hard to tell someone that they're the reason they're manifesting shit into their lives. It's like the biggest trigger I think you could ever trigger in someone. But also, it's so important, and I hope people get the message, especially from this podcast, that you need to take responsibility for your life, and you have to start asking the questions. Who am I? Like, what truly makes me happy? Like, what am I passionate about? And really start to dig deep. And even like the shitty, like ugly, dark stuff, like, what emotions am I holding on to? What traumas am I holding on to that are causing issues in my life now? And I think that's the work that starts to like turn the wheels to help you to now be able to start doing all these magical manifestation things. Because unless you've dealt with all the things in your subconscious that are causing all the shit in your life, you're not going to truly be able to become more self-aware, start manifesting the life of your dreams, because you're going to constantly be in this victim mode mentality. So hopefully, I'm really hoping people take at least that message away from what we've been speaking about so far.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
I mean, I wanted to ask you something as well. Sorry, I jotted down some questions because I was fangirling about this the whole week. Were there any like massive limiting beliefs that you had to work through in order to get to where you are today?
Oh, yeah. I've got a whole suitcase full of them. I was trying to think of the most potent ones. I think a lot of my limiting beliefs were thinking that I needed to be like someone else to be successful. It's like I needed to take on their identity, what they have, what they wanted to be successful. I didn't feel I could be successful just being me. I didn't feel I could be successful just like talking about what I want to talk about. And hence why I've now rebranded myself as a manifestation coach, because I was like, all I talk about is manifesting. I love manifesting. I'm a manifesting queen. I'm a manifesting coach. Yes. So yeah, one of the biggest limiting beliefs was not feeling that I could be successful just by being me.
I love that. I love it. I think especially now with like Instagram and social media and all these things, I see a lot of people like chasing and trying to be like someone else in order to gain that person's success. But like we always say, you have to find your own secret potion, your own secret recipe that only you can give. Because like we said earlier, like as soon as you speak your truth and voice your message in a way that only you can, that's when you attract your soul tribe, your soul clients, whatever it may be that you need in your life. So I love that was one of yours.
Yeah, the truth has a resonance. And this is the thing, right? So everything in the world that's ever needed to be said has been said. There's nothing really that new. And so it's not about finding someone new, something new. It's about how is your story and what you've been through and the experiences that you have. How can that help people to get this message deeper? Mm-hmm. And so like me and you might talk about manifesting, but you might talk about something and they get it, and I talk about something and then someone doesn't get it because they don't resonate with my story. So this is why it's so important to embrace the journeys, to embrace the ups and the downs, and know that the challenges are opportunities to grow and for you to share with people, because people will be attracted to you because they need your evidence that it's possible to have gone from being a model to being lost, to go from hustle to harmony, to just being an ordinary person who decided to go for it and now living their wilder than wildest dreams. It's possible for me too. Like, so people have to be able to see themselves within you. And so that's why just having your own unique story is the only unique thing there is. That everyone's talking about manifestation, everyone's talking about, law of attraction, but we need it. Like, we need more people talking about this. Mm-hmm. And it's like the whole law of attraction thing. The more you look at it, the more you see. So there's actually not a lot of people, when you look at the whole world, who are talking about manifestation and law of attraction. It just feels like there is. And now more than ever, we need you. If you're listening to this podcast, you need to share it, tag us, like share your insights with the world, because you are a light worker. Even if you think you're not doing the work because you've not got a podcast yet, or you're not a coach or whatever it is, you are, simply by absorbing this information. Even the way that you now go and speak to someone could impact their day, which then makes their day better, which then has a knock-on effect with whoever else they meet. So like, we really need you to step into this new paradigm of leading with love, of like business being in service to humanity, because this new earth that we are moving into is the world that we really want to live in, and not this world of fear and scarcity and lack. And it might seem like there's a lot of that in the minute, but there's also polarity in everything in the world. And, the more light that we can shine, the better.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Without the dark, we wouldn't be able to see the light. And I think just remembering that your biggest lessons can be your biggest blessings, because that makes you uniquely you, and that gives you your own story, your own experience to be able to help and share others. And I love what you said about, like, obviously listening to us on a podcast, like, we have the opportunity to make more impact in terms of people listening to us, but don't let that put you down. Like, you just helping one other person and shining light in one other person's life can really have that domino effect to them helping someone else and then helping someone else. So I love that you said, like, just shine your light however you do it, whether it's sharing something, sharing a quote on Instagram, helping someone like see something from a different perspective, whatever it may be. Like, just by you helping one person on your journey can help so many people down the line.
Yay.
Amazing. So before we end off our podcast, we always have 3 rapid fire questions that we ask our guests. So we'll get stuck into that now. And the first question is just, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received or heard?
Be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Love that. The worst.
I think that was the quickest answer we've ever had.
I'm like, okay, and then obviously, like we said, there's polarities and everything. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, just settle. Just get the job. Get married. Just be normal.
Love that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Normal's boring.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, if you could create a new rule for this world that everyone had to live by, what would it be? Rule or whatever, way of living.
I'll keep it clean. Okay, for every pound you spend, you got to give £1 to a charity.
Awesome.
I love it. We've never had that answer.
I feel like that's actually a law that could be enforced. So that's amazing. We was like spirituality, love.
Originally, I was thinking every hot guy that walks past me has to kiss me. But I was like, no. I'll just go have a dream about that one.
That's amazing. I love that.
Amazing, Kim. It has been absolutely incredible to have you on our podcast. I think there's been a lot of wise words spread from you to our audience, and I really hope that everyone listening has really taken at least one thing away from this, because I think, yeah, this is definitely a topic that is a lot more prevalent now, is just speaking the truth, facing your fears, doing everything with love. It's what's going to help the world become a better place, for lack of sounding cheesy. But yeah, it's just been incredible to chat to you and learn from you and hear your story.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course. And if anyone wants to follow you, contact you, just let them know the easiest ways to find you.
Yeah, so I'm Kim Mellor _ on Instagram. I also have kimmellor.com. I have a podcast called The Soul Digger. And I also have a group coaching program. And the next round is starting on the 10th of October. So if you want to just come and be in the manifestation energy, it's an 8-week journey to just help you own your truth, live your magic, and manifest your best life. So I'd love to have you in the container. Yeah.
Amazing. If you can even just, I mean, I can get most of those links, but we'll put them in the show notes. But if there's one for your coaching container that you want to send, you can send that to me, and I'll also add it to the show notes as well.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Kim. That was really amazing. Yes.
Thank you, girls.
I was just going to say now, to end off, if you feel like you need to start your manifestation and you've never known when to start, this is your sign to start now.
Mm-hmm.
Start now. Start waiting. Like, no, it's now. You're manifesting now anyway, but it's just time to manifest things that you do want instead of things that you don't want.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Kim. It was so nice to chat to you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.